49,000 years ago, deep inside a cave in northern Spain, something was left behind. Not a treasure, not a tool, a human skull. But it doesn't look natural. The cuts are precise, controlled, deliberate. And what archaeologists found next turned this site into one of the most disturbing discoveries in human history. Because this wasn't a death. It looked like a process. For decades, scientists asked one question. What kind of world produces this? Was it animals, a ritual, or something far more familiar? Because if this was done by humans, then we have to rethink everything we believe about our past. Not just survival, not just evolution, but violence itself. Where did it begin? To find answers, researchers looked somewhere unexpected. Not the past, but the present. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives. For years, they were seen as peaceful animals. That idea didn't last. In one long-term study, scientists observed something disturbing. Male chimpanzees forming patrol groups. Silent, coordinated, intentional. They moved like soldiers, and when they found an outsider, they didn't fight. They erased it. But even more unsettling, this wasn't random violence. It was structured, strategic, and repeated, which raised a terrifying possibility. Maybe this isn't learned behavior. Maybe it's inherited. But even if that's true, it doesn't explain what comes next. Because humans didn't evolve in jungles. They survived something far worse. Ice, silence, and extinction pressure that never stopped. And in that world, something else emerged. A different kind of human. For over 200,000 years, Europe belonged to the Neanderthals. And almost everything you think you know about them is wrong. They were not primitive. They were engineered by nature for survival. Short, powerful bodies, massive lung capacity, built for cold environments that would kill unadapted humans in hours. And their intelligence? Not inferior. Different. Archaeological evidence shows they created complex tools, controlled fire, and even produced advanced adhesives using chemical processes. But what matters most is not what they built. It's how they lived. Because their skeletons tell another story. Broken bones, healed fractures, repeated trauma. This was not a gentle existence. This was survival under constant physical cost. And then something changed. In northern Spain, a cave called El Sidrón changed everything. 13 Neanderthals were found there, not scattered, together. A family group. DNA analysis confirmed it. Parents, children, relatives. And their final moment is still being reconstructed. But what stands out is not just death. It's what came after. Because the bones show clear processing marks. Cuts, breaks, extraction patterns, which suggests something difficult to explain. Was this survival or something else? Because every mark tells the same story. Nothing was wasted. Modern science avoids simple labels here, because evidence alone doesn't explain intent. Was this violence? Was it desperation? Or was it something that emerges only when survival collapses completely? In extreme environments, the boundary between enemy and resource begins to disappear. And in that moment, everything changes. Around 45,000 years ago, something new entered Europe. Homo sapiens. Taller, leaner, faster moving, but not necessarily stronger. A Neanderthal would win in raw physical combat. So the question is not strength, it is coordination, language, scale. Because unlike anything before them, these newcomers didn't act alone. They acted as systems, groups, networks. And that changed the rules completely. We don't have a full record of what happened next. No battlefield, no final war, only traces. But one object tells enough. A Neanderthal jawbone, drilled carefully, worn as a necklace, belonging to a Homo sapiens individual. Which raises a final question. Was this victory, or memory, or warning? Because if this is what remains, then what happened in between is still missing. And the next discovery doesn't answer it. It makes it worse.